Okay, let's just get right into it. What if the secret to getting rich has absolutely nothing to do with how smart you are? It sounds crazy, right? But that's the core idea from Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. And today, we're going to unpack it. Because it turns out, financial success might have way less to do with spreadsheets and a whole lot more to do with something else entirely.
I mean, think about this for a second. Why do some of the most brilliant people you can imagine go totally broke? It's a question that really makes you pause, doesn't it? We've all seen the headlines about genius investors or superstar executives who just lose it all. How does that even happen? Well, that's the big puzzle we're going to try and solve.
And here's the kicker. The answer is almost ridiculously simple. Turns out, being good with money has very little to do with your IQ. It has everything to do with your behavior. It's not about the complex theories you know, it's all about what you do day in and day out consistently.
All right, so to really get this, we've got to dig into some of the hidden forces that are constantly pulling the strings on our financial decisions. You see, we all have these, financial blind spots. And trust me, they're way more powerful than you might think.
And this quote right here, it explains so much. Basically, your personal experiences with money create your version of common sense. So someone who grew up during, say, a huge recession is going to see risk in a totally different light than someone who came of age during a massive tech boom. A financial move that looks absolutely insane to you can make perfect sense to them, all because of their unique history. It's a powerful reminder that when it comes to money, no one's actually crazy.
Okay, here's another huge blind spot for us, the whole luck versus risk thing. They're really just two sides of the same coin. We look at a huge success story like Bill Gates, and we study his genius, right? But we tend to just gloss over the incredible luck that was involved. And risk? That's the flip side. It's all the equally smart, equally talented people who just happen to be hit by the unseen wrecking ball of bad luck. If you want a clear picture of finance, you have to see both sides.
So, if our own brains can trick us, what's the game plan? Well, the good news is, it's not about trying to become some kind of super genius. The real solution is to focus on a handful of simple, almost boring behaviors that lead to incredible results over the long haul.
And this is a biggie. The difference between being rational and being reasonable. See, a rational financial plan is the one that looks absolutely perfect on a spreadsheet. Every penny is optimized. But you know what happens? The second real life gets messy, and it always does, that plan just shatters. A reasonable plan, on the other hand, is built for a human being. It's flexible. It's a plan you can actually stick with when you're tired or stressed, and that makes it infinitely more valuable.
You know, one of the most powerful, reasonable tools we have is the slow, steady, unstoppable power of compounding. The amazing thing is you don't need to hit home runs every year. You don't need these mind-blowing returns. All you need are pretty good returns that can keep going without interruption for a really, really long time. The secret sauce isn't being a genius, it's just being consistent. And, maybe even more importantly, avoiding the huge mistakes that can totally wipe you out.
And all of this really boils down to one powerful truth. Your biggest edge in finance isn't how big your brain is. Nope, it's your temperament. It's having the humility to know you can't predict the future, the patience to let your investments grow, and the sheer consistency to just stick with the plan.
Okay, so we've talked about getting wealthy. That's one part of the equation. But what about staying wealthy? Because that, believe it or not, is a completely different ballgame. It takes a whole new set of skills that most people ignore. So let's talk about mastering the art of defense.
Yeah, just think about it like a sport. Getting wealthy is all offense. You got to be optimistic, take some risks, really put yourself out there. But staying wealthy, that's pure defense. It's about being humble, a little bit fearful, and yeah, even a little paranoid about what you could lose. Because if you're not careful, that wealth can disappear in a flash.
And this leads us to maybe the single most important financial question anyone can ever ask. Seriously, because if you don't have an answer for this one, you are sailing straight into a storm.
Because here's the hardest skill in finance: getting the goalpost to stop moving. The problem with always wanting more is that it's an endless treadmill. You can't win. As soon as you reach your goal, you just push it further out. And that's when you start taking dumb risks for things you don't even need, risking what you have and need. Learning to just stop, to say this is enough, is a genuine superpower. So how do you play defense? A huge part of it is building what's called a margin of safety. Just think of it as your financial cushion. It's the room for error you build into your plan. Because let's be real, life is never perfect. Something's going to go wrong. With a good margin of safety, a market downturn or an unexpected bill is just a bump in the road, not a total catastrophe that sends you back to square one. All right. We've talked about our weird psychological glitches and the behaviors we need. But why? what is the actual goal here? What are we really trying to buy with our money? I think the real answer is going to surprise a lot of you.
So when we think of wealthy, what pops into your head? Probably this, right? The fancy cars, the huge houses, the Instagram-worthy vacations. We see people spending a ton of money and we automatically think, wow, they're rich. But here's the thing, that's not wealth, that's just spending.
Real wealth, true wealth, is invisible. It's the money you haven't spent. It's the investments in your portfolio, the savings in your bank account. It's the assets that are quietly working for you, buying you something way more valuable than a luxury car, options, freedom, control.
And that, right there, is the ultimate goal. The highest dividend money will ever pay you is the ability to control your own time. Think about that. Waking up in the morning and having the complete freedom to say, you know what, I'm going to do exactly what I want to do today. That level of autonomy, that control over your own life, that is the absolute pinnacle of wealth.
So let's wrap this up. What can you actually do with all this? First, aim to survive, not to be perfect. Second, put your savings on autopilot, aggressively. Third, sit down and really define what enough means to you. Keep your expectations in check. And above all, give your plan the longest possible runway. Give it time.
And I want to leave you with this one last question to chew on. Take a good, honest look at your own financial plan. Is it built for a perfect world inside a spreadsheet? Or is it built for your actual, messy, unpredictable, and beautiful life? The answer to that changes everything.